The Netherworld is a realm where demons live, and the king who rules the Netherworld is the Demon King. However, the Demon King's throne had been emptied for quite some time. Where did the Demon King go, and who would become the next Demon King? That was the question that arose in the minds of all the demons in the Netherworld. Without the Demon King's presence, the stability of the Netherworld would sooner or later be disrupted, so the new Demon King was needed to fill the throne and rule the Netherworld. Meanwhile, Mirimashita Iruma-kun tells the story of Suzuki Iruma, a 14-year-old boy who has had many misfortunes during his life. Despite being underage, Iruma is the child of truly awful parents who often exploit him to do various dangerous jobs so that they can live thanks to the benefits and salary that Iruma gets. One of the toughest jobs he ever had was working on a tuna boat, which made Iruma reach a point where he began to question why his life was so unlucky. When Iruma was working in the middle of a huge storm, the time around him suddenly stopped. Iruma found himself bound by ropes, and in front of him appeared a horned figure with a large body and a bald head. The creature put a paper that says sold to Iruma, meaning that he has bought Iruma at that time. At that second, Iruma had unconsciously been teleported to a place he had never known, asking questions to the person who only answered in a language that Iruma did not understand at all. When that person snapped his fingers, indicating that he had put a spell on Iruma, that's when Iruma began to understand the words of the person, who informed him that this is the Netherworld, the realm of demons, and his name is Sullivan, one of the demons who live in the Netherworld. Sullivan also informed that Iruma's parents had sold his soul to him, making him feel very disappointed in his parents who had sold him, even though he had been working hard just for them. Iruma also screamed in fear because he didn't want to imagine what would happen to him next, considering that he was already in the realm of demons. However, it was then discovered that Sullivan bought Iruma's soul just to make him his grandson, and make him attend the demon school Babbles. However, Sullivan warned Iruma of one fact, where so far there has been no human enrolled in a demon school, and Iruma has to hide his identity as a human if he doesn't want to be eaten by the demons. That's why Iruma also put on a special perfume that removes his human scent so he can do activities at school like other demons. While at demon school, at first Iruma tries to keep a low profile in fear that people at school will discover the fact that he is human. Unfortunately, this became a difficult situation for Iruma, as Sullivan himself was the principal of the demon school Babbles, so his efforts to keep a low profile could not be done because he immediately became the center of attention at the school. Moreover, after Iruma recited a forbidden spell which he initially thought was a greeting from his grandfather in front of everyone at school, he got a reputation he didn't want, because the slightest mistake would make Iruma's body explode right away. Not only that, Asmodeus, who is an honor student and believed to have the potential to become the next Demon King, begins to challenge Iruma in a duel, feeling that his spotlight as an honor student has been taken by Iruma. However, no matter how many times Asmodeus attacked Iruma with his fire spells, none of his attacks hit Iruma. This can happen because Iruma's greatest skill is his overwhelming crisis evasion as a result of his efforts to avoid trouble and avoid his misfortune so far, allowing him to dodge any object thrown at him, including fire spells. From this victory he didn't want, Iruma had a loyal following on his first day at school, Asmodeus. Meanwhile, on his second day at school, Iruma managed to make his teacher, Nobarius Caligo, his familiar, which of course surprised the whole school because there had never been an incident of someone making another demon as their familiar. After that, Iruma also befriends Clara Valak, a demon who is famous for her quirks and energetic goofball personality, making Iruma think that his life at the demon school will be enjoyable with Asmodeus and Clara. However, the three of them were placed in the misfit class for problem children, a class that was filled with a bunch of troublemakers. In this class there are various kinds of demons with different personalities, types, and abilities, making the misfit class an interesting place for the development of Iruma's character in the future. On the first day of the misfit class, there was a placement to determine which rank each student was in, indicating how strong their abilities as demons were. If the average new student is at levels 1 and 2, even Asmodeus himself is at level 4, Iruma is actually at the lowest level, Aleph. However, on his middle finger, there is a ring called the Gluttonous Feeder Ring, which could store magic energy and will eat anyone's powers if it becomes empty. The power of the ring can even make Asmodeus fall instantly, make Caligo hallucinate, and make the entire school hear an intimidating scream. Although equipped with several abilities that are considered strong by other demons, Iruma himself as a human who lives in the Netherworld does not have any goals in his life. So far, he has only lived as a people-pleaser. However, his views began to change when he met Azazel Ameri, the student council president of Babbles. Ameri, who is known to be cold and strong, actually has an interest in shoujo manga, which she believes is evidence of human civilization. Ameri herself believes that Iruma is a human because Iruma can read the dialogue in the manga First Love Memories, which Ameri considers forbidden text. After all, none of the demons can read the dialogue. Ameri's interest in Iruma's unique abilities while in demon school made Ameri think that Iruma should increase his rank, and Ameri, who was already rank 6, will wait for Iruma to stand by her side. It was from here that Iruma began to think about his life goal in the netherworld, namely to climb the ranks, with the thought that one day he could return to the human world again if he was in the upper ranks. Since then, Iruma has been training to improve his abilities and overcome his weaknesses, and it feels amazing when Iruma finally uses his strong will to overcome challenges and obstacles to fight Asmodeus in Cannonball Execution, which managed to make him move up from rank 1 Aleph to rank 2 Bet. Even though Sullivan and his servant Opera were not Iruma's biological parents, but slowly Iruma began to open up and accept that he could be happier in the netherworld than in the human world. This season focuses on Iruma's overall character development rather than a serious plot point, bringing this anime more to a heartwarming genre regardless of the theme that carries the netherworld and demons. The ability to balance the harsh elements of the plot with the silliness of Iruma's overall adventure in the netherworld is one of the most memorable and enjoyable things about the show. However, when entering the Battler Party arc, which starts from episodes 13 to 20, the calm and heartwarming story becomes darker without losing the light atmosphere. Starting from Sullivan, who had to attend the 13's dinner where the higher-ups of the demons would gather to discuss the big problems that occurred in the netherworld, including the empty Demon King seat. Everyone in the gathering was worried that the netherworld would fall into chaos without the Demon King and believed that either Sullivan, Levi, or Belial were the right people to ascend to the Demon King's throne. Levi and Belial agree that Sullivan is the right person to become a Demon King, but Sullivan himself refuses to become a Demon King for the simple reason that it will reduce his time with his grandson, Iruma. Unfortunately for Sullivan, not long after that, Henry, who is one of the 13 higher-ups and also the father of Ameri, is forced to arrest Sullivan after discovering the fact that Sullivan has illegally entered the human world. While Sullivan is held captive for some time until the truth of Henry's discovery is discovered, Caligo is appointed to temporarily lead the demon school Babbles. It was feared that chaos would ensue if no one led the school during Sullivan's absence. What Sullivan and Caligo feared came true, because there were shadows that wanted to destroy the Babbles at the Battler Party, an event where almost all the students and their families gathered at the school, as a symbol of the collapse of the ladder that the demons called rank, creating chaos that has never been imagined before. At first, while looking for a battler, or what is commonly referred to as a club in the human world, Iruma accidentally met Kirio, an upperclassman who was friendly, smiling, polite, and seemed to have the same problems and past as Iruma faced, so it's not surprising that Iruma respects him. However, behind Kirio's smile and friendly demeanor, lies a soul that likes to see others deep into despair, the nature of the true demon. Kirio doesn't work alone to achieve his goal of creating despair. He made it this far thanks to his collaboration with Baal, one of the 13 crowns, which had also been the reason how Sullivan was captured by Henry. After Kirio's motives became known, Kirio's character design began to change little by little, with his eyes getting smaller, his hair starting to be styled differently, and some other minor physical changes. Uniquely, when Iruma learned of Kirio's motives, he did not fall into despair as Kirio thought and hoped. This is because Iruma has spent his entire life avoiding danger, and since his arrival to the netherworld he has begun to learn to challenge himself. Iruma is used to it, thinking that despair wouldn't change a situation, and wouldn't solve the problem either, so he had to act on his own instead of spending time falling into despair. Iruma thought that even if Kirio was evil, he would neither run nor despair. Precisely that made Iruma even more determined to destroy the ambition of Kirio, who wanted to create despair. Kirio had thought that he and Iruma were very similar in many ways. The boy who wanted others to despair, and the boy who is used to despair. From that moment Kirio considered Iruma his natural enemy. When Iruma took the shell they were supposed to have made together to create fireworks at the Battler Festival but was instead used by Kirio as an explosive to destroy the school, Iruma unleashed a level 3 Libera to break through Kirio's barrier. Kirio laughed, thinking only the magic of Sullivan's class could break through his barrier, forcing Iruma to break his promise to Sullivan by chanting the Pandarula spell that released the maximum power that was held in his feeder ring, allowing Iruma to achieve the magic of equal power to Sullivan. For the first time, demon wings appeared from Iruma's back, and Kirio's powerful barrier was broken through, creating a firework that not only made everyone in the audience cheer with joy but also made Kiryu admit his defeat to Iruma. Learning to admit defeat, Kiryu even went so far as to use his barrier to save Iruma, who by then had been unconscious due to exhaustion of all the energy and magic power in his ring and body. Regardless of what happened at that time, Iruma became more comfortable and happy, and he, Asmodeus, and Clara became closer as friends. It was also unexpected that what he had done got very high enthusiasm from all the demons, including students, teachers, and even Sullivan himself. At the end of the main festival, headquarters counts all the votes from party events and announces the final rankings. Generally, there are only 3 prizes that can be obtained by a battler, and one of the biggest is the Greatness Award, where the rank of the battler leader will increase by 2 while the members will increase by 1. However, an exception occurred, when the festival at that time added one more reward, the Tricky Award, after the magical apparatus battler incident stopped Kiryu's evil scheme. The teachers, especially Caligo, took the initiative to add this reward as a thank you for the battler's heroism, where one of the members will be ranked up. Asmodeus and Clara agreed to give this reward to Iruma, who had worked hard to achieve this. Moreover, Iruma had also endangered himself in stopping Kiryu with his evil plan. A unique thing happened after the award received by Iruma, where Iruma, who usually felt horrified every time he sang the school song, actually unknowingly joined in singing the song loudly and confidently. Unknowingly, Iruma slowly seems to have begun to forget that he is a human, and enjoys his new life as a demon. Despite Iruma's desire not to stand out, for the umpteenth time, Iruma became the headline in the school newspaper. This is what makes Kuromu, a demon idol who is then revealed to be Iruma's classmate, Cryselle Karori, jealous and annoyed that Iruma appears in the newspaper headlines more often than she is, a dem doll. Dem doll themselves is an abbreviation of demon idol, which Asmodeus explains that the presence and role of dem dolls themselves are very vital, just as teenage demons will go through an evil cycle of destructive behavior, and need popular entertainment that will convert their impulses into healthy excitement. Coincidentally, Iruma got a concert ticket from Broadcaster Battler and won a lottery containing a ticket to meet Kuromu in person. Even though Cryselle tried hard to hide her identity from Iruma, in reality, Iruma already knew that Kuromu was his classmate due to her peculiar hand habits. Iruma admits that he is always jealous of Cryselle, as Cryselle can stay hidden during class even though she is a dem doll, while Iruma himself often stands out by accident even though he doesn't want that. Realizing that Iruma was more popular than himself without even trying, made Cryselle more upset and fainted from overusing her ice magic. As the concert continued, and Iruma felt responsible for this incident, Iruma tried his best to keep the concert going and not be cancelled by offering to do an opening act until Cryselle regained consciousness. Together with Asmodeus and Clara, Iruma takes on the dem doll persona, ignores his shame, and is forced to stand out despite his desire to stay hidden and doesn't stand out. When Cryselle opened her eyes, she realized that Iruma didn't want to stand out, but instead had to stand out to help others. That's when Cryselle realized how kind Iruma is, and since then Cryselle and Iruma have become friends. Just like the title of the episode, you fit right in now. Iruma-kun. Currently, Iruma can be said to have made friends with many demons and has also adjusted himself to live in the netherworld as a demon. Iruma, who initially thought that the netherworld was a terrible place, filled with demons who wanted to eat humans, actually began to enjoy his life there, and every morning always woke up with a peaceful mind while chatting with Sullivan and Opera at the dinner table. At school he also had a day, as usual, starting with going to school with his 2 close friends, Asmodeus and Clara. He learns various subjects like students in general, but still interspersed with demons and magic. He also befriends Cryselle without spreading her identity as a dem doll, Kuromu, and also reads the dialogue of the First Love Memories manga, which is considered forbidden text to Ameri. Every day Iruma did it as if he had forgotten his origin as a human. At one point, Iruma was reminded of a message from Henry, who had told him that once there was a human that had entered the netherworld, and Henry was working hard to return him to his original world. At this point Iruma started to think again about his reason for staying in the netherworld. Would he be able to stay in the netherworld? And what will happen if he returns to the human world? Luckily Iruma has 2 close friends, Asmodeus and Clara, who always cheer him on, so his thoughts of returning to the human world have faded, although not completely. There was indeed a desire for Iruma to return to the human world, but for that day, that hour, that minute, and that very second, Iruma thought that he will enjoy his life in the netherworld. Iruma may be a human, but he's having so much fun in the netherworld and will continue his life as a human in the demon world. On the other hand, after the ending song ended with various snippets of what had happened during the series, The audience was surprised by a very unusual morning for Sullivan, opera, and even Iruma himself. Because Iruma, who was always friendly, smiling, and always excited even in the morning, suddenly became very cold and disrespectful toward Sullivan, as if the Iruma in front of them was not the Iruma they knew, or maybe Iruma had completely adjusted himself in the netherworld so that his personality also started to change into that of the true demon. Finally, the ending of Mirimashita Iruma-kun's first season is indeed a little weak, but it never loses from the core of the story and manages to blend humor and a more serious storyline very well, so this show can be said to be fun to watch. With a variety of character designs, where some details in the art and story are paid attention to, plus many moments that can make you laugh out loud, Mirimashita Iruma-kun is a comedy anime worth watching alone or with your family.